Can tomato farming in one single acre give you 1 million? In simple terms, can it make you a millionaire? They usually say numbers never lie, they tell the truth. And in this video, they are the cost estimate, the revenue estimate, all prices dynamic, and the profitability, if there is any, or loss, or what at the end farmers get. Is it profitable as it said? Can it reach as quick as people say? This is what we are looking forward to demystify and give you nothing else but the reality and the truth in tomato farming. My name is Kelvin Wairimu, an agricultural consultant at Farmworks Kenya. Farmworks Kenya is an agricultural solutions center where we offer realistic solutions to challenges that farmers face daily on their farming. And if you are new here and you've not managed to subscribe, kindly do so. Make sure that you subscribed, and also don't forget to share this information with other farmers. We usually tell you that this is the only way that you can help us, enable us to empower and reach as many farmers as possible. With that said, let's look at the numbers, the true cost analysis and the profit analysis of tomato farming per acre in Kenya. To understand the numbers, let's look first at the tomato farming cost. This is the amount that you will incur to farm tomatoes, all the activities from day one to harvesting. Now, to begin with, we start with the most crucial one, that is the cost of land. And this one, in most cases, you'll find that is removing the weeds and all the debris can give it a value of 3,000. Okay? Then we have another one, the cost of plowing. And this one, in most cases, can give it an average figure of at least 4,000 Kenya shillings. Then we have another one. After you've plowed and done all this, we have what we call Halloween. And this one, in most cases, it's cheaper, so we can give it an average price of 2,500. And then after that, making the fallows, or the section that you'll be planting. And this one, we can give it at least 2,000 Kenya shillings. Now, this gives us the cost of land preparation to 11,000, 5,000 shillings. This is the first one, and this includes removing the weeds, deep plowing for proper soil preparation, breaking the soil plots and all those plots, and also making sure that you've made good fallows for the drainage. After that, we go to the next section of the planting materials. And here, what we are looking at the seedlings. We have the planting materials. And here, what we are looking at is the seedlings. And in this farm, we are assuming that the least that it can hold is 10,000. And this one at a price of 10 shillings. And this one will give an average of 100,000 shillings. Okay? Then we go to the next one, the fertilizers. And these ones are those ones that you will incur for improving the soil fertility. So fertilizers and the soil have the fertilizers, okay? And here what we are looking at, number one is manure. Okay? And this manure, at least we have, let's say, 20 tons per acre at an average price of 500 per ton. And this one will give us an average of 10,000 for the manure. Then remember, you need number two, you need the DAP fertilizer. Okay, this one you need at least 2 bags, each at a price of 6,500. And this one will give you 13,000 shillings. Then we have another one, Remember, you need the NPK, okay, and especially the 1717. And here you also need the 2 bags at a price of 4,500. And this one will give a cost of 9,000. Then we have the fourth one, which is the CAN. 2 bags also at a price of 3,500. Remember, these prices can keep on changing. Actually, you need the 3 bags, and this one will be 10,500. Okay, and then you also need the foliars. These are the likes of foliar feed, the boosters, the vegetative growth, the fruit and flowers, and this one we can give them an average price of at least 3,000. So you have a cost of, so this one brings the whole cost of fertilizers and those soil amendments to 45,500. And remember, it's in Kenya. It's in Kenya shillings. Okay. From there, let's look at the other main cost that you will also incur. And here, the main one is the pest and disease control. Okay. So we look at the pest and diseases control. Okay, and you need the fungicides. That's number one. And those who don't know what fungicides are, these are chemicals that are used to control the fungal diseases. And you need an average of, let's say, 8 sprays. Okay, at least a cheaper one. Okay, each spray has a unit cost of 800 shillings. And this will give a total cost of 6,400. Then from there, you need insecticides. What are insecticides? These are chemicals that you use to control those pests. For example, the tutor absoluta, the white flies, the DBMs. Okay, and you need around 6 sprays each at a cost of 600. Okay, and this one will give you a cost of 3,600. Okay, then you also need bactericides. These are the ones that are used to control the bacterial diseases or to prevent bacterial diseases such as the bacterial wilt, or the bacterial leaf spots. Okay, this one you need 4 sprays at an average cost of 500 shillings, and this one will give you 2,000 shillings. Then we also need nematicides in the event that your farm is prone to nematodes, but it's always good to apply them, at least 2 applications at a cost of 1,500 minimum. So you'll have at least 3,000. Okay. Then we have the 5th one. At this case, we also have now the spraying labor. In the event that you're also not using the machines, and remember, tomatoes, it's hard to apply your chemicals using the machines. So here you'll need at least 18 spray sessions, each at a cost of at least 300. So you find that you are incurring 5,400. This will give you a total cost of 20,400. And remember, say this one is in Kenya shillings. From there, remember, you cannot depend solely on rain fed. So you need to have a set-up irrigation system that you can use in the event that the rain subsidizes. So we come and look at the cost of irrigation. And the most reliable system that you can use, remember, it's the drip irrigation. and here you need at least a cost of 150,000. Remember, this cost can be amortized. You can split this one in subsequent harvest. You allocate maybe 50,000 per season to equate this cost, because if you feature it on the first cost totally, it may not give you the true profit. But if you want that, you can also do it. Consider it the first season that it covers it, and then from there on you won't be including it. So at 150,000, then there's another cost that you will incur, that is water. And here, this is the cost of maybe petroleum or even the tokens that you're paying for your water. And here you'll need at least 8,000, the minimum. But at times it can be more. And then also, remember, there is the maintenance. Maybe there is the breakages, maybe there is something that is split in there. So we give it an average cost of 2,000. And this one will give you a total cost of irrigation and the whole water to 160,000. Okay? From that, we look at the second one, the labor cost. Remember, you're having workers and you'll definitely have to pay them. So the first cost, number one, is during transplanting. Remember, we indicated the cost of preparing the land. So during transplanting, you need at least 5 days, and each at 400. And this one will give you a cost of 2,000. So this one is for a single person, or you can also opt maybe to take 5 people and you do the whole work in a single day. It will still come to these 2,000 shillings. Then from there, remember, you have another problem. Weeds are growing. So you have the cost of weeding, which comes to at least, let's say, 4 stations. At least that is 2 days each, which will be 2 days divided by 4 at a cost of 400. So this one will give you 3,200. Okay. Then we have the other one, the fertilizer application. So this one, at least you have the 6 sections, each at 400. So this one will give you 2,400. Okay. Then we have another one, pruning and training. This one, most of the time, it will be 8 sessions at 400, which will give you to 3,200. And finally, we have farm maintenance. So this one will come to at least, you can put at 10 days at 400, which will be 4,000 and an average of 14,800. With that, let's look at the support structures. Remember that this tomato, it's a hybrid, so it needs staking. So we come to support. We need the stakes. Number one, we need the stakes, at least 1,000 pieces at a minimum price of 15 per piece, and this one will give you 15. Then we go to the other one, the tying materials, the string. Okay. Tying materials. Now this one we can give it an average price of 3,000. And then we have installation labor. The people will be doing those work. Installation labor. This one, most of the time you'll find that you can give it at least 400 per day. And you can give it an average price of 2,000 in that work is done for 5 days. So you have a total cost of 20,000. Then from there, you've done all that. Let's look at now in the event that you've now neared the harvesting. Okay, you'll have the picky neighbor. Number 1. Picky neighbor, at least you can do 20 days. This one at 500, this one will come to 10,000. Okay. Then we have the materials, the crates and all that are used during now the harvesting. So these are now we can also give it an average price of 5,000. Then now we have the transportation to market and from the farm. This one we can give it at least 8 trips at 800. This one we can give it 6,400. So we have a total cost of 21,400. Okay, so this is the cost. Now, remember, there is other costs that you will definitely incur, and on this section of other costs is where we give and we know a serious farmer. Remember, you want to have a system whereby that you can have continuous production of tomatoes every now and every season you're having tomatoes, so that you can manage to enjoy the good market prices all the time. So at least other cost is where you buy now seeds, but for next season. Okay, and this one you can give it at least most of the time, depending on how you want to plant and how you want to do it. It depends if you want to raise them, but if you are not doing or you're not going to raise them, you want to buy already made seedlings, you can allocate here now a good average figure of 100,000. Okay, but in most of these cases, usually give a miscellaneous expense here to the other cost. Miscellaneous of at least 3,000. So these are not that much, but the main cost that you can include is the miscellaneous cost. So let's look now at the whole total cost that now we said. The whole cost that we said you definitely have to incur. Now, the total cost in all of them, if you add all of them, you will come and have now a total production cost of 399,600 shillings. Okay, but the question is, what is the revenue projections? How much are you intending to incur? Okay, now this one, it will depend on the expected yield, or the yield that you get. And there are 3 yields here that you can manage to get. Okay, on normal cases, you can get at least 8 to 10 tons. Okay? But you can also get an average. Okay, yeah, at least 10, 15 tons. Or on a good day, on a very high yield, you can see or get an optimum of 25 to 30 tons. This is at least most of them, and at least if you manage to control and manage to feed your tomatoes well. Let's now look at the revenue projections. How much are you expected to earn? How much that are you going to earn based on different market price? And we shall use a minimum market price in the market. Actually, we shall use 3 of them. We shall use a price of number 1, at least market price. Minimum of 8, or number 2, we shall have at least average of Kenya shillings 15, or an average, a good price of, very good price of 25 shillings. Okay? Now on all these, let's look at all the scenarios, all of them. Now if you are good and you happen to manage to harvest, this one is at minimum price. Okay, at minimum price. So you harvest 9 tons. So this one is the same as 9,000 kgs. Okay, this one is at, said, 8 shillings. So you will get 72. Okay. If you harvest 12.5 tons, okay, this one is 12,500 kg, okay, at the same 8. So you harvest on a good price, okay, 100,000. If you manage to do 27.5, that is 27,500 at this kg at, so here you are looking at 220 shillings. If you are good and you met an average price of shillings 15, then if you do 9 tons, which are equals to 9,000 kg at 15 shillings, you are able to get 135. If you do 12.5 tons, that is 12,500 at 15, you are able to get 187,500. And if you manage to get 27.5, which is 27,500 at 15, you manage to get 412,500. These are the figures that you get. And if you are so much lucky and get a good price, okay, good price of that 5 shillings, so you'll have 9 tons at 35, so you have 315. You have 12.5 at 35, you get 407,500. And if you get now the 27.5, which is equal to 27,500 at 35, here you are able to get 962,500. So we are still yet to get or to see a million. And let's look now the average profit. And here is where the key on all this now lies in. Now at 8 shillings, if you sell at if you sell at 8 shillings, okay, you are likely to get at 8 shillings, and you harvest 9 tons, you will get, okay, a loss of minus 337. Okay, if you harvest 12.5 tons, you still get a loss, okay, of 299,600. And if still you harvest at 27.5, you still get a loss of 179,600. If you manage to do at moderate price at 15 per kg, okay, so at 15, so if you manage to harvest 9 tons, you get still a loss of 264,600. At 12.5, you still manage to get a loss of 212. So if you manage to harvest 27.5, then this means that you are on the right track and you happen to get actually it's 12,900, the first positive. This is the first profit. Okay, and if you're so much lucky and you sell at 35, so at 9 tons, here you're getting a loss still of 84,600. And this is where we say, even if you get good prices in the market and their yield is so much minimum, you might end up making still a loss. So at 12.5, we have at 7,900. And this one is, remember, it's a profit, the first profit. And if you have 27.5, that is where now we make a big profit of 562,900, the first profit. So this is now means that the only time you can manage to get a profit if you sell at a good price of that 5 shillings and you manage to do over 12.5 tons. And if you are selling above 15 shillings, you have to at least make sure you do produce 27.5. Remember, there are cases that accessing the market might be a problem, and there are also cases whereby you may end up not getting these 8 shillings and you even get 5, 2, or even 3, or even to get a buyer sometimes becomes so much hectic. And also remember, you can find good prices in the market, 50, 60 shillings per kilo, and at this point is where farmers make a kill that replenishes the previous losses that they made when prices crashed and fell down. It's true to say that you can manage to make a million, but when can you make a million? The only time, according to these numbers, that you can make a million is if only you do this whole tomato farming, but on over at least 20 acres and above. Okay, because if you have 20 acres and above and you can manage to produce 27.5 at least at that point, or you manage to do 27.5 tons on at least 3 acres minimum. And remember, for you to get this million, you will also be required to invest more than that 1 million. Okay, so you cannot expect a million by investing less. So these are the true numbers. Let me know what are your numbers and what are the costs. And thank you so much for sticking around. Let me see you on our next video, where we discuss on how you can manage to grow tomatoes successfully from seed to harvest. Thank you, and let me see you then.